Okay.
Last minute.
Okay, thanks.
Microphone's gonna be an issue. I'll shut mine off for now.
It's the longest minute. It's the longest minute ever.
Apple says it's more.
Yeah, I know. That one's always late. All right, let's do it. The Tuesday, August 1st, 2023 meeting of the Sugarland Development Corporation is called to order. Public comments, citizens who desire to address city council, board and or commission in person with regard to matters on the agenda must complete a request to speak form, give it to city secretary. Has anybody requested to speak?
No, sir.
Secretaries, anybody here in the room would like to address the board? Okay. Number 3, minutes, consideration of and action on the minutes of the July 11th, 2023 meeting. We need a motion. Motion by McCutcheon, second by Watley. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Thank you. Item number 4, contracts and agreements. Consideration of and action on authorization of amendment number 1 to the performance agreement between the Sugarland Development Corporation, Schlumberger Limited and Schlumberger Technology Corporation. Alba Peñate Johnson, Senior Business Development Manager. Take it away.
Thank you. So good afternoon. Today I'll be presenting the amendment to the SLB performance agreement. Before we start, I would like to introduce Todd Moe, who is HSC and Facilities Head at the Sugarland campus, Lisa Ann Hoffman, who's the Communications Manager, and Chad Peterson, who is our Managing Director at the US Land Headquarters SLB. So to begin, I do want to reiterate that the mission for this corporation is to create a sustainable business environment that promotes a quality economy that helps enhance the standard of living for both our businesses and our residents through an expanded and diversified tax base. So a little bit about SLB. In October of 2022, Schlumberger rebranded to SLB. This was done to restructure the company into core oil and gas, digital and new energy, and done to address the global energy needs and becoming a leader in the energy transition. SLB is the world's largest oil field service company and global leader in developing oil and gas technology and processes. They have been in our Sugarland community since the early 1950s with their global well construction headquarters and US Land headquarters at the Sugarland campus. The new energy business that I just mentioned before is called Neolith and is for development of lithium mining technologies related to battery manufacturing and lowering emissions. On their 200-acre campus, which is a little bit underneath the Sugarland Business Park, they have approximately 1 million square feet under roof and over 2,000 employees. Before we jump into some of their new initiatives and investments, I do want to mention that our marketing division created and published a success story on SLB and can be found on our website if you want to learn more. So now I'll turn it over to Todd to discuss some of the new initiatives and investments.
Thanks, Alban. There's a lot going on at our campus. As Alba said, I'm the facilities and HSE head for the whole campus, our main campus. There's another property just further north. It's 1333 Industrial Road, where we manufacture small electronic boards that go into the tools, the downhole tools that go into the main campus to manufacture our tools. So here's just a very small snapshot of some of the investments that we've been making on the campus. I mean, since we've been there since the early 50s, as you can imagine, we spent a lot of money on just maintaining to keep the lights on roofs and transformers and electrical plumbing and things like that. But we're also making critical investments around equipment. The one on the far left is part of our core business, which is oil and gas. It's what we've been in for almost 100 years now. And that machine that you're looking at is a new piece of technology where we're actually using fiber optics in the cable. And that machine is what actually makes that cable. And the cable that I'm talking about is used for our downhole logging services. So that's what actually you put it at the end of the tool, and that goes into the well. So this is a new piece of technology that we just launched here on the north side of the campus. So go along with the same things that Alban mentioned earlier. Digital investments right here on the bottom left-hand side of that slide. We're doing 3D printing. We're doing advanced metallurgy, testing and development. We're doing also algorithms around artificial intelligence, of course, machine learning, and also microchip processors. So it's a little bit of a technology manufacturing kind of researchy part of our business. If we go to the top right, again, we're quite fortunate that we have all three parts of our new strategy in our company. So we have new energy. Right now, we have 2 out of the 5 new energy pillars of our business. We have energy storage. So that battery pack that you're looking at there is a 20-foot cargo container. It's not lithium ion. It is nickel hydrogen battery. So it's a new technology. It is fairly new. It's actually in the Hubble Space Shuttle, that type of battery, but we're trying to industrialize it and use it for industrial energy storage. We also have critical minerals. Alba mentioned the company called Neolith, and this is where we're getting into the mining business of lithium. And we have a joint venture around the technology side of the mining. We don't own the mine. We have the technology to get the lithium out of the ground and out of the water that's slurried in with it. So that team is actually housed on the Sugar Land campus. What I would like to do is attract more of these businesses onto the Sugar Land campus. As you can imagine, our company is very big. We're throughout the Houston Metroplex, from Rocheron all the way up to the northern part near the airports and Rankin Road. We would like to get more of these businesses here in the Sugar Land campus, and it's a competition. So we need to make sure that our campus stays relevant, vibrant, and it still looks fresh and new as it did 30 years ago. And then finally, sustainability investments. At the beginning of the year, during Earth Day, we put on a very big celebration at the campus. Over 1,000 people showed up and joined. Chad's organization is the one that chaired that one. And we had a nice video. Maybe we can share it with you at a different time. But it actually showcased all the booths that we had. We had things around planting, biodiversity. We had 14 EV cars from different manufacturers show up. And this is investment that we're putting into our employees to show them that there's a lot of things that we can do as individuals around waste segregation and composting and all that. It was a really, really cool event. And we had several vendors show up as well. And then finally, we just recently installed several EV chargers on the campus. We're waiting for them. They're actually physically there, and we're just waiting for the software so we can get them all connected and hooked up. That's it. Thank you.
All right, so going back to the amendments, we were needing an amendment due to market changes. So the original agreement that was drafted in 2015, 2016 needed amending. So I've outlined the changes to the agreement here. So just to quickly recap, The new amendment would run the compliance agreement from 2021 to 2027. It would be $70 million in cumulative capital investment as a requirement. It would be 1,600 hotel room nights per compliance year. It would be 2,350 employees by the end of 2023, with 100 added each year after, for a total of 2,750, with $100,000 in annual average salary. And for incentive payments, it would be $800,000 cumulative, or $200,000 every year of the compliance agreement. So again, to mention, these changes were made in a good faith effort to be flexible to the market and its changes, and also for the retention of an important primary employer. So this recommendation has been reviewed by the City Council Economic Development Committee and City Council during executive session, and staff does recommend approval of this amendment. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Alba. Any questions, Jennifer?
How many employees are we at right now?
Over 2,000.
Over 2,000, so we're real close to meeting that requirement for 23.
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody? Questions? Motion by Kamali,
Second.
second by Ferguson. Any further discussion? Sure.
There have been no other changes than the last ones we heard in executive session, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have second by Ferguson. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Any against? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming today. Number 5, budget. Consideration of and action on amending the fiscal year 2023 budget projections, adoption of the proposed fiscal year 2024 budget, and a recommendation of the proposed fiscal year 2024 budget to members of the City Council. We have Tyson Lopez. Tyson, welcome back.
Thank you. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me, right? Okay, great. I'll put it even closer. Okay. So. Thank you, Stuart. Like you mentioned, my name is Tyson Lopez. I work with the budget department here for the city, and I'll be presenting the item today, or the budget item on the agenda today. Just a reminder, I know that this was workshopped back on the 11th by our interim director, Mr. Mejorado. And as mentioned, we'll be going over the 2 main points on the item, which is the FY23 budget projections amendment, as well as the FY24 budget. So,
Tyson, could you do us a favor? Not all of us are hearing as well as we would like. Could you?
I can hold it. I had to hold
Could
it.
you do that for us, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So starting with the current year FY23 projections, projections total, revenue projections total an increase of 1.47 million over the original FY23 budget. That's really driven by 2 main factors. First and foremost, sales tax performance through the course of the year. I do want to point out that sales tax continues to come in over budget. And since this was workshopped and prepared for the board back on the 11th, an additional $470,000 in sales tax has been added to the projection for the year, which is great news, more money. That is the only change to the projections from when this was workshopped. And the other main driver is interest income outperforming the budget based on the rise in investment portfolio yields. We know interest rates have risen. Our cash investments have reflected that in comparison to when the FY23 budget was originally put together and approved. So that drives the 1.47 million variance. On the expenditure side, the projected expenditures total 2 million lower than the original budget. That variance is driven by the expectation that there will be no further use of the remaining reserve for opportunities budget this year. And that's the only driver of that, which leaves you with net income variance in comparison to the original budget of 3.47 million over what was originally budgeted. And that's reflected in the fund balance and I'll just point out that we're continue to be well over the policy requirement for the corporation financially with this projection amendment. And the second piece, the FY24 budget as presented to the board today. On the revenue side, the FY24 budget includes 10.47 million in expected revenues. This includes sales tax of approximately $8 million. And similar to what I mentioned on the last slide with sales tax, the budget has an additional 370,000 in sales tax revenues versus what was projected at the workshop. We still feel confident at this point in time that this maintains a conservative forecast and really is just a reflection of additional or greater accuracy from the additional sales tax receipts we continue to receive from the comptroller. It also includes interest income estimates that reflect our expected portfolio yields, which are, like I mentioned on the last slide as well, much greater than last year's budget. It also includes your TERS 1 assignment of $2 million, as well as some other miscellaneous revenues. And on the expenditure side, the FY24 budget includes 13.67 million in expenditures. This includes, of course, our annually budgeted economic development program, your incentives budget, your overhead cost allocation and salary reimbursements to the general fund for staff. It also includes debt service for the corporation next year, which is 3.9 million. The reserve for opportunities of $4 million for increased flexibility for staff for opportunities throughout the year. And it also funds the design phase of the Brazos River turnaround and alternate roadway project, capital project. And of course, it meets the financial management policies set forth by the corporation and the city. That's my overview of the two items, or this item on the agenda. The next slide is really just showcases that capital project, which is being split between the 4A and 4B corporation cost-wise. And if next year is the design phase with a construction phase expected in FY25. And that's the highlights. Questions before we get to the recommendation?
Chad,
You had $4 million.
microphone, please.
You had $4 million right there for reserve for opportunity. That does not include the $2 million for 23 that would get rolled in, correct?
No, so it's a great question. In 23, when we amend the 23 budget to projections, that 2 million falls the fund balance. The cash never gets spent, right? And so this reappropriation in FY24 budget, I wouldn't use the terminology includes that, but it is just a reappropriation of $4 million of the fund balance in the budget. I don't know if that.
So let me follow up. So
Yeah.
is it 4 million plus 2 million, or is it?
No,
4
sir, it's
million?
just 4 million.
Okay, I got it.
Follow up to his question on the 2 million. There is no reserve for opportunity for the rest of this year. Is that correct?
That is the expectation, and that's what's been discussed with.
What happens if there is an opportunity? Where do we pull funds from? Since we've taken the 2 million to, I don't know where it went, but what happens if there's something that comes up?
So it's not from a budget perspective and appropriation perspective. It would be amended to zero. The cash is still there now. This has been discussed with this EcoDev staff, and they have additional funds still in their incentives budget and other places that we're comfortable with the amount remaining that we could utilize to address any opportunities.
Follow up.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So it wouldn't affect the 4 million in the 24 budget. That's kind of where I'm going with that.
Can you repeat that?
It wouldn't affect the 4 million in the 24 budget?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody? Questions?
Okay.
Meredith, how many action items are in Here. Is the amendment a separate one?
Yes, sir. Two.
Okay, so first we need a motion to accept the amendment as presented.
Okay, motion to approve.
Cutchin, Kamali, further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Okay, and then the second one is we need a motion to adopt the FY 24 budget. Is that correct?
To approve.
Recommendation.
Recommendation.
Yeah,
Okay, recommend to council, is that it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, who
Motion.
making that motion? Watley,
Sorry.
Ferguson second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Okay, thanks, Tyson. Appreciate it.
Thanks. And
Can I have one request? Is there the detail on this for expenditures and revenue? Is that somewhere in our big budget package? Or do you have that somewhere we can actually look at it just?
yes, ma'am. So I would say it's two places. One, it is with the agenda item for today's item, and it is also included in the proposed budget that was submitted to council.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
And just a reminder for the public that the next step for a corporation budget is with the adoption by city council. So thanks.
thanks, Tyson. Number 6, director's report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please excuse our director of absence that she be doing with prayers. So the first item up is the Exodus, which is a new segment that comes on CW network. They are streamed on many platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all that. The mayor actually sat down with them and did a visit and spoke about the city and all the tourist attractions that we have. They stream 52 weeks a year, like 38 times, 100% coverage of all Texas markets. So that was a good segment that they did for us there. ECI confirmed that Kristen Fannin is a Austin Travels magazine. She's also a Fox News analyst. She is going to visit on August 18th. She's coming, she's gonna do a tour of the city, and we're gonna host her here, doing all the same, and she's gonna do a live segment for us, when she comes. And then DCI did a deliverable on success story to pharma, which is one of our pharmaceutical companies. They are expanding 3 times within this past year. Over the recent years, they expanded 3 times, and it just shows our commitment to growing a lifetime. And that's all I have.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Microphone, please.
I just want to remind everyone that August 18th, that visit's very important. It's my birthday.
Wow.
Yes.
Thanks, Danny. All in favor of ignoring the child's birthday? Carol, do you have anything you want to move?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we are adjourned at 4:20. Thank you all very much.
Strike those comments. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
No. It's in the